Well, hello. Welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. And if you do like the programming you see here and the artists and musicians that I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button below and also subscribe to the channel. Colin Gibson is an English bass player, writer, and composer. During the 1960s and 70s, he played in various bands, including pop psych bands Skip Bifferty, Heavy Jelly, Griffin, Ginger Baker's Air Force, and Snafu. Colin has also worked with well-known artists like Alvin Lee, Steve Howe, Graham Bonnet, and Bert Jansch. In 1984, Colin switched gears into comedy with Little Armadillos, a sitcom which he co-wrote with Pete Richens of the comic strip. The same year, Mr. Gibson and Kenny Craddock, a fellow musician who he had previously worked together, founded Invisible Studios, which specialized in film and TV soundtracks. Colin and Kenny would provide music to a series of comedy films and TV shows. Since the late 80s, Colin has played with saxophonist Trevor Watts in Moire music, in Buick 6 with Roger Hubbard and Liam Genockey, and with Jack Pound and Guano Poundhammer. My guest also works with the Hunt Cult, a collection of filmmakers and artists, and runs the Hastings 5-Day Film Challenge with filmmaker Emmett Ives. Well, welcome, Colin.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
great
here.
Info.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time out and to visit and to go back a little bit in that time machine. Well, take us back to the beginning. Where were you born?
Newcastle upon Tyne, which is right near. It's almost Scotland,
Oh, way up there. Yes.
Yeah.
The only time I ever came to the UK, I went to Manchester. That's up north too, as well.
Yeah. The lady who just appeared to get me connected is also from Manchester.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, do you have fond childhood memories as far as music? Do you remember hearing that in the household growing up?
Oh, yeah, very much. My parents were big fans of, let me see, Nat King Cole, Glenn Miller, so those are the kind of sounds I was hearing in the very early days before rock and roll hit my ears,
Right. And then everything changed.
Everything changed. Yeah, I started to hear it from next door, where the daughter was like, I don't know, about 15. So I was getting Little Richard, and my mother would say, "What is that? It's terrible," which made me love it even more. And that was it, and Elvis and Buddy Holly and everything else. I was just crazy for it. I was a huge rock and roll fan from the age of about 5, 6.
Yeah. And if your parents didn't like it, then that proved that it was probably pretty good.
Pretty much cemented.
Right. Well, can you recall one of the first singles or albums that you got yourself?
Yeah, I can remember. I can actually remember the first thing that I saw a record reproducing, and I can see the label going round and round. And it was a tune called "Wedding of the Painted Doll." I'm not sure who it was by, but I can see the label in my mind's eye.
Right.
And that was like, what's that? How's that happening? This thing and this music coming out, and it's a beautiful tune. And then I guess the first records I remember listening to properly were "When I Fall in Love" from Nat King Cole.
Oh yeah,
that was so I still love that song. Absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah. What a voice. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, how about, so what was the first instrument that you learned to play?
I guess it was bass, really. I mean, I dabbled about on the guitar, but not very much. And then I started to play stuff with Johnny Turnbull. Like the missing instrument was bass, Yeah. And my older brother, actually, who had a job, was for me my first bass,
Yeah. Well, how old were you, you and Johnny when you first met?
When we first met,
Yeah.
4.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, he was 4, I was 5.
Yeah.
We met on the first day of primary school.
Is that right?
Yeah, of
Wow.
elementary school, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And we
That's
both did an
that's
escape committee and tried to, had many attempts of running away. Yeah, and he was my best friend all the way through school.
yeah, yeah. I think my best friend, we knew each other like 40 over 40 years, but he passed away a few years ago. But
Mhm.
yeah, we'd always comment on that. Actually knew him than longer than my wife was alive at the time. So
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting.
Wow.
Well, well, how about as a teenager, what were some musicians and artists that you started getting into?
Let me think. Well, we had a band called the Primitives, John Turnbull and I. We were basically we were playing like stuff like the Shadows,
Yeah.
You know the Shadows? But
Yes.
basically like the Ventures, right? But
Right.
the British
Right.
version of the Ventures.
Right.
And so we'd be playing stuff like that, and then Buddy Holly,
Yeah.
and the Beatles, cover stuff. And then we just suddenly we decided to we saw an ad for a guy who wanted to join a band as a singer. We figured, yeah, that's maybe what we were lacking. We know a good singer. And this guy turned up, and he looked about 28, but in fact he was only 14.
He
He looked
was
about
older.
28, and he sang like he was about 36.
Wow.
And he had this big bundle of blues, real heavy duty blues albums, And we became this blues band, And it
Yeah.
was to freak people out because we were only young, we were just kids. We were like 14, and we
Yeah.
were playing like dirty, filthy blues, not the normal blues that the rest of the bands in Newcastle were playing. This was like, deep blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we could play it, we could mimic it good. And he was a great singer. He sounded like Muddy
Great
Waters.
blues singer. Yeah. Well, then that was the primitive sect, right?
That was the primitive sect, yeah. And people used to come around and just to goggle, and say, "What the fuck? Where's that come from?" I thought maybe we were miming, behind the curtain, but yeah. So that went on for a while, and then I think that band kind of petered out eventually, and I got a call from Mick Gallagher who's now the Blockheads.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he was in a band called The Chosen Few in Newcastle.
Right.
With Alan Hull.
With Alan Hall, right?
Yeah, but Alan Hull had left, and they were just having a kind of Mark II of the band. And he phoned and asked me to join because he'd seen me playing with the Primitives.
Yeah.
And so I did, and that was my first serious professional band,
Yeah.
And then later on, the guitarist, the original guitarist in Mark II of the Chosen Few left, and I got Johnny in,
Oh, okay.
I suggested John, and that was it. That became the basis of Skip Bifferty, basically.
Yeah. Now Alan would go on later to be in folk rock band Lindisfarne. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then put out some solo material as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, which I played on. I mean, he was a great friend of mine from when he was like my mentor from when I was about 15, 16. And yeah, and he kind of took me under his wing. And a few other people, he was very encouraging to younger musicians. I guess he was about 5 years older, or 4.
Right.
So we looked up to him, because he knew a lot of chords.
Right. He had big wings to take you all under.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, he was writing quality songs, and we thought we'd love to write songs, but we needed the machinery,
Yeah.
Well, we learned from people like him.
Well, what Graham Bell, vocalist, what had he done previously?
Well, he kind of just appeared in Newcastle. He'd already been in London, and I think he had a band. He had a band called the Graham Bell Trend.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So that's a very memorable name.
That's very good.
So I remember that much, and he was a bit wiser than us, you know, streetwiser than us, because he'd spent this time in London. So and he was such a great singer that we grabbed him, you know, we got him into the band and kind of just broke away. The basis of the chosen trio, which was me, John, Nick, Tommy Jackman, the drummer, and Graham, that we just broke away and formed Skip Bifferty. And he wanted to write songs. We just immediately started writing songs. I mean,
well, whose idea was the name Skip Bifferty?
It was mine. It was because I do a lot of drawing and writing. And Skip Bifferty was just a character, a kind of cartoon character that I messed around with. It was just a very basic drawing of a nude man skipping, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Why Skip Bifferty? I don't know, but that's what he was called. And,
okay.
We went through a hell of a lot of names. I'd tell you that.
Did you?
Yeah. We almost were called Albert's Fungus, for instance. You know what I mean?
No.
It was that time.
Right. A lot of bands coming up with really, really strange names. Yes. Well, you guys began playing live gigs in London.
Yeah. It all happened very quickly.
Any memories of any of those shows?
Oh, yeah, a lot. I mean, Graham had these connections in London.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went down and were picked up by Don Arden, you know, which was probably our ultimate downfall. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
But the one thing we did get immediately, also a little bit through Graham as well, who had connections with the Marquee. But we did an audition, and we got a residency, you know, on every Thursday. And we soon built up a big following, you know, that'd be queuing around the block. So we started to pick up a name quite quickly.
Right. Well,
we got a record deal, of course.
I was going to say Don at least was instrumental in that, getting you to deal with RCA.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was RCA, you know, which is a pretty lousy record label.
Okay.
I've been in another band since with them, you know, and I realized they're more into sort of weapons technology and all kinds of other things, TVs.
Yes.
You know, the music department was. I recorded an album in New York in the early '80s, and I remember I think it was on 7th Avenue in the building. The music department was like one floor. Yeah. For 150.
Right.
You know,
it was not a high priority for.
No, it wasn't. and the people who worked for it were generally not of high quality either. You know? Although we met some very nice people though. Okay. But anyway, I digress. Yes.
Well, I wanted to go into you quickly issued a trio of singles. Oh Love, which did pretty well.
On Love it is.
On Love. You know what? I have that there. I just said it wrong. I have On Love. I don't know why. Yeah. I need to get a new prescription for my glasses. On Love, yes, On Love.
Yeah,
right.
That's an interesting story behind that. Actually, I mean, it was. We all lived together in a big house in South London, and Graham and Mick Gallagher came home one day after being out, you know, in the West End, and they'd been accosted by Scientologists in Oxford Street.
Is that right?
And they gave him this kind of brochure. Yeah. And the brochure was in the form of a board game.
Yes. You
know, it's creepy, the usual creepy Scientologist stuff. And there was a board game, and all those little lines in the song, you know, hear my point before the game, and stuff like that. They were all on this board game. Is that right? So this psychedelic, sweet psychedelic Summer of Love song was really about Scientology.
That's fascinating.
It really creeped us out, you know.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I had an interview not long ago with a musician who was actually in Church of Scientology
Uh,
for a while. He and his brother. Thankfully, they got out.
yeah.
But yeah, very, very fascinating. Very
Well, they
fascinating.
often don't let you get out. You know, they'll
Yes,
tell you for
that's right. They were
your life.
they were very lucky to and be
Yeah.
deprogrammed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, their headquarters, the English headquarters, is quite near here.
Is that right? Oh
Yeah.
wow. Oh wow. Okay. Very interesting.
Enough about that.
Yeah, no, let's not go off on that tangent.
No.
Well, Happy Land. Now
Yeah.
that's a nice pop song, and don't take offense to this, but I can hear Tom Jones doing that one.
Yeah. No,
I could hear.
too. Yeah. I mean, but that was an out and out. You know, the record company was saying on Don Arden was saying, you know, we got to have a hit. You know,
Yeah.
just write pop hit.
Yeah.
Hit,
Right.
Pop hit. You know, and we
Yeah.
just I remember sitting writing it. You know, I mean, I didn't like it at all, really.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, but it is good, nice for what it is. What it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the third one, Man in Black,
Yeah.
produced by Steve Marriott and Ronnie Lane. That may be my favorite of those three.
Yeah, it is mine.
Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Good.
And you can hear that Small Faces influence in that song. Yeah. You can.
Yeah. Well, they kind of befriended us. You know, they because they were used to be with Don Arden.
Right.
So they were kind of giving us advice. You know.
Right. what to do and not to do.
Well, get out of there.
Yeah.
Basically. You know.
Leave as soon as you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, John Peel was a fan of the band.
Huge fan, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys played several Top Gear shows too.
Did?
Well. Yeah. How was that? How was that experience?
Great. Absolutely great. Yeah. I think all of those John Peel sessions are on. There was a Sanctuary Records released a double album called The Story of Skip Bifferty. Do you know about that?
Yes.
And I think that has some John Peel tracks
Some of
on
those
there.
tracks on there. Yeah. I have a copy of the self-titled album on CD. Great psych pop, great pop psych pop, however you want to say it. And I wanted to mention a few of my favorites and maybe get your take or your recollection behind them. Money Man.
Money Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can picture recording it. You know.
Yeah.
I think we did the bass with Tommy Chapman playing drumsticks on my bass while I fingered the bass. Very interesting sounds on it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember we'd never been in the studio before.
Okay.
We were full of the Beatles and all the experimental bands, and we just couldn't wait to get our hands on that stuff, you know. And of course, the naivety kind of paid off because we would just go for anything. You know, we didn't see any stumbling block to getting what we wanted. So that I think that's the key to why it sounds like it does.
Yeah, it's pretty good production on the album too. I guess.
Yeah, it is. Big Smith.
Yeah, yes, did a good job. Jeremy Carabine.
Yeah, that's
another one.
That's I think I wrote that with Graham, maybe I can't remember now. Well, it'll say on the album.
Yes.
Carabine is my mother's maiden name.
Is that right? Okay.
That's where that title comes from. Yeah.
Okay.
It's also my son's middle name. You know.
Ah, okay.
So it's quite a rare name, and I really like it. So.
It is.
Yeah, it's a very rare name.
You don't hear that very often now. Well, and then Come Around. I like the mood and the feel on that track.
Yeah, that was recorded at Regent Sound Studios.
Okay, different place. Okay.
You heard of that?
Yes, I have. Oh yeah.
It was a demo studio. It was real egg boxes on the wall. Very rough studio, and we just thought it was shit.
Yeah.
But in fact, you know, it wasn't. It had a real roughness, and of course, the Stones recorded stuff there. I think everybody did.
Yeah, I think they did. Well, today they wouldn't be able to fill it with egg egg boxes with the price of eggs. They wouldn't be able
No.
to do that.
Oh, you're having an egg crisis over there, aren't you?
Yeah, right.
But Trump will fix it.
Oh
We
yes,
will have cheap eggs.
he's gonna fix it tomorrow. He's gonna
Tomorrow.
That's
Yes, give me that paper.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And
I think
everything
I can forge his signature now.
he's gonna fix
a lot
everything.
of mountains, isn't it?
Right, right. Oh man, we won't get into politics, but that's a nightmare we can't wake up from. It's
It sure is.
anyway.
I know. I mean, nobody in England, can believe it. It's
No.
like, what?
No, we can't either. It's happening right in
I
front of
know,
us.
but it gets you guys such a bad name because people. I mean, I know it's not true, but people just assume that everybody in America is stupid.
Right,
You
right.
know?
That's
And
right.
that's what he's brought to you.
Right, right. And I'm that may be a problem now for me going forward with reaching out to UK musicians. They may say, I don't want to talk.
No, we know better than that.
Yeah, I hope so. And then another one, Orange Lace. That's a very pretty track. I like that one.
Yeah, it's nice. That's Graham and Nick, I think, wrote that maybe.
Yeah.
It's called Orange Lace or Orange Man? Oh, Orange Man is the kind of chorus. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was written. I had an obsession with orange, and I used to wear orange. It really didn't suit me either. I mean, but I just was clueless about
right
how to dress in those days. But I was obsessed with orange. And
orange. See, it's your fault now. It's your fault with the Orange Man. He's our president.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, we can use that on a Trump video. Thank you. I'm going to do that.
Sorry.
Yeah, where's my pen? I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
That's coming out.
Okay.
Look out for that. Orange.
Okay. The orange face man. Yeah. Oh man.
Okay.
Sorry, make that. I couldn't resist that. I couldn't. Yeah. Well, and then yours for at least 24.
Yeah.
The rhythm track on this one reminds me of another song, and I can't put my finger on it.
Oh, let me just try and
I don't. It's one of those I rack my brain forever, and I still can't get it.
I can't quite.
Yeah,
I can't quite get the melody in my head.
Yeah, yeah. Go back after this or later on when you have time to listen to it and see if
they've all got a quite curious rhythmic approach to them.
Yes,
again, probably due to naivety and just like let's go for it,
Right. They're all unique too. And then my CD has a few extra tracks. Reason to Live.
That was the B-side,
yeah, the B-side, and I wish it was a little bit longer. That's the only thing that I would say.
It's a lovely track. It's beautiful. It's John Turnbull's track.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really, really sweet. And it's got and it sounds like it's got a cello on it, but it isn't.
It isn't, but it does sound like that.
It's just a bass with a volume control,
Right. Yeah, maybe that would be something I'll be able to talk to him about later on. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
then he's always ringing me up and going, "What was the name of that guy?"
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and then Schizoid Revolution. What's the story behind that one? Was that a demo or
Alan Hull?
Oh, okay.
Alan Hull wrote it for us.
Oh, okay. But it didn't appear on any album, really. Okay.
No, we did it as a demo, I think, before we had a record deal.
Demo. Now I'm wondering with the title Schizoid Revolution, and then you had in the works a follow-up album called Skip Bifferty. If that might have appeared on that, if it had come out.
I think it would have done. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were kind of Alan Hull. You see, at the time, after he left the Chosen Few, became a nurse in a mental hospital.
Okay.
And then he had the keys to the drug cupboard too. So he was dabbling in acid,
Did he?
in like 65.
Oh man, that's a plum job. That's a plum job to get right there. Right there. Yes.
And we would talk. We would talk to him about mental hospital stuff, and
Yeah.
particularly about schizophrenia, because at the time acid was it was being used as a treatment for schizophrenia because you could synthesize the symptoms of schizophrenia.
Okay.
So they presumed at the time, anyways. That was the idea.
Right.
Of course, the whole Summer of Love and the swamping of Hyde Street
Yes.
put an end to all of that. Unfortunately,
Right.
they just stopped any experimentation medically over here anyway. It just ceased.
Right.
And they've only recently started to do it again.
Yeah.
But they were getting a long way with it.
Yeah. I think it was. I think there was some progress in that area. I think it stopped over here too.
Oh God, yeah. Well, certainly, if it hadn't before, it will now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Give me a pen.
Exactly. That will be next on his list.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Oh God. Well, and you mentioned your artwork. You were working on the cover art for that. What would be the follow up? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, somewhere there exists some photographs of it. I can't remember. It was. I don't see. It was a tree, and it had just lots of heads in the tree instead of fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. I wish I still had it.
Oh, that would be nice to see. Yeah, to look at that. Wow. Yeah.
I think I can reproduce it from memory.
Okay, that would be good. That'd be nice. Do a little sketch. Yeah, if you could send me a sketch of it, if you have time, that would, from your memory, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, and the band, speaking of Don Arden's management or mismanagement, led Don to believe you had broken up, but you hadn't officially.
Yeah. We sort of pretended to break up because Island Records wanted to sign us, but as usual, Don just scared everybody off, with threats and so on. So that you're about to refer to Heavy Jelly, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't think of that name. This was just Island Records. What was his name?
Chris Blackwell.
I'm trying to think of the producer.
Oh, the producer.
Guy Stevens.
Okay, guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was quite crazy. So he just took us in the studio, and we kind of. I mean, I wrote most of the song.
Yeah.
We kind of banged it together quite quickly, really. And we got in there and just tried to make the longest single ever.
I was going to say, the one I have clocks in at over 8 minutes long.
Yeah, well, Guy Stevens was behind the glass going like this.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have broken all records.
Yeah, but it did very well. It was on that Island Sampler record, and it was also released as a single.
Yes,
it did very well in Europe.
Yep.
I didn't make any money out of it whatsoever, but.
And you're speaking of I Keep Singing That Same Old Song.
Yes.
Much harder than Skip Bifferty. Even progressive.
Well, the thing is that you got to remember that album, the self-titled album, was in the drawer for a year at RCA. They didn't release it for a year.
Yeah.
And now the year's a long time when you're like 17.
Right.
And we changed completely. By the time that album came out, we were more like Heavy Jelly.
Right.
We were quite a heavy-duty band,
Yeah.
And there were bands around like Spooky Tooth, Family. We were getting more into that area,
Yeah, Gary Wright, one of my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, of course, Mr. Arden found out who Heavy Jelly were, and
it wasn't difficult.
No.
I remember Chris Welch, the journalist in the Melody Maker.
Okay.
He went, "This is a cracking track from Heavy Jelly. It really skips and biffs along."
Oh, did he really say that?
So
Oh no, he
there's
gave
no
it away.
chance, you know. Yeah,
He just gave it away.
he did.
Oh wow, wow. Well, then it was for you. It was on to band Griffin with
Griffin, yeah.
future yes drummer Alan White was in the
Absolutely,
ranks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And you
Well,
guys, I was going to say
I'm
one
sorry.
single. You guys, no, I was just going to mention you guys came out with one single in your short
Yeah,
time together.
I am the noise in your head.
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes, it was good. It was again pretty heavy.
yeah,
But that was a great band. I mean, it was a fantastic band.
yeah, yeah.
And Graham joined as well. And I think Alan White was previously in Alan Price's band.
Oh, all right, right.
And I think Pete Kirtley also guitarist. So they all knew each other. He's from up north as well.
Right.
Alan White.
And you worked or wrote for Alan Price a little later too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Then it was on to Ginger Baker's Air Force, where you replaced Rick Gretsch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite something.
I was going to say, how was Ginger? I've heard stories of Ginger.
Well, it's a very strange thing. Everybody says, "God, wow, God, it must have been awful." And Ginger was, especially to me and Kenny, who were 20 years old at the time. He couldn't have been nicer. He was absolutely lovely at all times. And years later, I figured out that the thing about Ginger is he bears a grudge. So if somebody does him wrong, that's it forever, right?
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And so as the years go by, it's worse, you know.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So he's one of those guys, you know, you would not let it lie. So, but with us, we had no history with him. Yeah. He was just thinking, oh, these guys are good, you know. They're only 20, but shit, they're good.
Yeah.
And so he was just really nice. I mean, Kenny and I used to take turns in driving back from gigs with him because he used to drive this weird sports car.
Yeah.
Like very hairy journeys. He was a very fast driver. But yeah, you know, he was great. And let's see, he lived in Wembley at the time, or near Wembley. And this is a good story. I often tell people this. It was you know, we have Guy Fawkes night here.
Yes.
Remember the 5th?
Yes.
And people have bonfires and kids have fireworks. So we were around at Ginger's house, just me and Kenny, as guests, and his kids were having a bonfire in the garden and everything. So we were all indoors afterwards, getting stoned. And I'm looking around Ginger's house, you know, and gold discs on the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these gold discs and Disraeli gears. And he goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I recall that only had 3 tracks on each side. I said, yeah. I said, well, there's like 6 tracks on this one. He went, what? And he's get it out. And we got it, put it on.
Yeah.
And it, please me.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a different record label.
Was it?
I mean, what cheapskates.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I think that's just a great story.
What did he think of that? What did he?
We just pissed ourselves laughing, you know. He just said, yeah, fucking cheapskates.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard stories of him playing with Cream and how he was just fortunate to find the band stool, you know, or you know, find the drums, you know, just fortunate to make it up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that. Yeah, that felt a lot because Pete Brown was a good friend of mine. You know, Pete Brown, the nurses.
Oh yes.
He was a neighbor. You know, he only died a couple of years.
Right, he did. What was it? Pablinko? Pablinko. Yes. Right. Yeah.
And he's a great guy. So, and I used to work for a local paper as well, and I did like a 3-part interview was Pete Brown, which was brilliant, very revealing.
Okay. Oh yeah.
It's a shame he's not still alive. You would have loved to talk to him.
Oh, I would have. Yeah. Yes.
He just knows everybody. And of course, we had loads of little connections all over the place. But he just told me about, you know, the drug intake and how Cream originally he was brought in as a lyricist, right, to write with Ginger, not with
Not with Eric.
not with Jack Bruce.
Not with Jack Bruce. Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can imagine that too.
And of course, him and Jack Bruce were like this.
Right.
Ginger and Jack.
Yeah. They had some stories.
They wanted to kill each other. Yeah.
Oh yeah, at each other's throats. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Well.
Anyway, that's enough about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, how long did you play with Ginger? About how long was that?
I think just over a year.
Okay.
I think that the first gig I did with him was it's quite a well-known gig. I can't remember the name of the island. It was
Well, Isle of Wight?
no, it was just Germany. It was just off the coast near Hamburg.
Okay.
And it had everybody was on it, flying Family Stone, and then the whole thing just sort of descended into chaos because there was huge thunderstorms. The motor disappeared. I found his clothes on the beach. Yeah. This is my first gig, right? We got there and we're driving to the stage, and there was a plague of frogs.
Yeah.
We were driving through a sea of frogs.
Really? They're hopping.
Whoa, it was weird. And then when we got to the trailer where we were supposed to, that was our dressing room, you know, and it was full of bullet holes.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, kind of a. And I remember it was thunder and lightning on stage with all this electricity, you know.
Oh man, people could have been electrocuted, easily. Oh, wow. Well, that was not a good omen.
That was a baptism, yeah.
Biblical. With the frogs, biblical, yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Well, interesting in reading who you worked with and played on different albums, that you contributed songs to Rosetta Hightower's album.
Yeah.
Hightower. Yes. American singer.
She was great. I liked it. The album was called Hightower, I think.
But I have the album. I don't know if it's the same one. I have the album with Stoned Love. That track that. Oh, I love that song. And she has her.
We
version.
didn't write that though. No. But we wrote a couple of songs on it.
Okay, and then her version of Dion's Abraham, Martin, and John.
Yeah.
Always loved that.
Singer.
Yes, she was. Yeah. So I have that, but I don't think it was the same one because I looked on it. I didn't see any that you had penned or that you had written.
No, it's the album that we wrote a couple of songs on. It's called Hightower.
Hightower. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was a different.
I think we may have played on it too. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, during the 70s, you did a lot of session work, playing on a couple of Alan Hull's albums.
Yeah.
An Alvin Lee album.
Yeah.
One of my favorite guitarists. And then Steve Howe's Beginnings. Yeah, another great guitar.
Yeah. And then we played on Steve Howe's album, John Anderson's. And Alan, of course, Alan White.
Yeah.
Where we wrote all this material on that.
Right.
On his solo album. I don't know whether you're familiar with that
one. I don't know. I don't think so. No.
It's called Ramshackled.
Okay, Ramshackled.
Check it out. It's
okay. I will definitely check it out later on. I'll look into that. Well, yeah, it's interesting. These are a lot of artists that I've followed as well, and it always makes it interesting doing these. If it's bands and artists that I'm into. Here's one. Mark Almond. And I'm not talking about the '80s. Soft cell. Not that.
No. I have to say this every time. When they say, we have the Beatles states, to with Mark Almond, they go, really?
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Not the soft cell. No. John Mark.
Yeah.
and very underrated band. Very
Oh
my
yeah,
friend that I mentioned that I had known for over 4 years. He turned me on to a lot of obscure kind of '70s bands like that.
yeah,
And you toured in the U.S. supporting Joe Cocker.
yeah.
Uh,
3 months.
yeah, 3 months of
Yeah, it
that.
was quite a hell of a tour. And with Danny Richmond as the drummer.
Ah, okay, right,
I
right.
mean, geez,
Yeah,
have you ever played with any good drummers?
yeah. Yes.
Charlie Mingus's drummer. That's a big job to take on.
Oh, sure it is.
I was very nervous.
Would be. I would be too.
Yeah,
And you and played on the album Rising,
yeah.
which it had that. I looked at that, has my favorite Mark Almond track. What am I living for? What am I living
Oh
for?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're familiar with? They remember that one?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great lyrics. The whole feel of it. I like their sound. I mean, I just like that.
They, they went down really well on that tour because they were like the second band on the bill.
Yeah.
So they were on just before Joe Cocker, and Joe Cocker was hit and miss, because they were all pretty out of it by then.
Yes,
It
yes.
was the tour after Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Okay.
I think during the Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour, I think they got a taste for a lot of things, illicit things,
Things, yeah.
and they were all pretty out of it. But so we would often get like better reviews than them,
Oh,
in the
okay.
local papers.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Did some
Well, yeah, I think they appealed to Americans. Their sound did.
yeah, it did,
I
yeah.
think it really did. Yeah, yeah. Well, how did you come to join the R&B rock band Snafu?
Um, well, I got back from the tour with Mark Harmon. And it was a very exciting tour, 3 months. My first visit to the States, 3 months, very luxurious tour, best hotels, private plane, everything. It was,
Well, I wanted to ask you, but before we go on, I want to ask you about any culture shock first time over here.
oh, I frequently say that it's one of the biggest culture shocks ever. Because mainly because you think, well, we share a language where they're basically the same people with different accents.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So the culture shock was great, but enjoyable. Culture shocks are often not bad. They're a real jolt, and they make you think and think things differently. And it was a good one. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah. I talked to one musician a while back, and he put it this way. He said, the good things about America were really good.
Yeah.
He said, but the bad things were really bad.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course I'm touring with Danny Richmond, who's an African American drummer from the whole Charlie Mingus ethos.
Right.
Quite, heavily like, don't mess with us, you motherfuckers,
Yeah.
And so he really showed me stuff that I would never have seen. He'd take me out in a cab and he'd go, you see those tracks there? He said, well, the phrase on the other side of the tracks, it's real.
Yeah.
We live over there, you live over here, And
the band Snafu released.
Oh yeah,
albums.
Sorry, I was getting
Okay.
to how that
Yeah.
got
Oh
back
yeah.
from that tour.
Yes.
And I returned to where I'd been living at the time when I left for America, which was a very sleepy coastal town in East Anglia, way in the country, rural, and Sydney was a little bit too quiet, and I just had to get into another band, so I took off with my then girlfriend, and we just went to London and camped in Mick Gallagher's flat for about 6 weeks until I found a flat, and then got connection with the band, because my name was kind of in the pot,
Right.
So I was put in touch with this band and auditioned with them and just joined it,
Right. Well, it kind of was like a little full circle moment going back, to that original, R&B sound that you guys had with the primitive sect, So
yeah, It was, yeah, and it was a very funky band too, though.
Yeah. Yes.
Snafu. Great drummer, Terry Popper, great. Yeah, very enjoyable.
Good few years there. Yeah.
Yeah,
How were the albums received?
very well. The first one particularly was everybody was. I thought, this is great. We've got over the hump here. We're going to be big.
Yeah.
But well, as with these things, it doesn't always work out that way. So the second album was kind of when you start trying to tailor things to be more appealing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas the first one was like, fuck it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
The hell,
Right.
And then you start, and then the difficult third album.
Yes. Always.
Yes. So, and it just, we kept, it was a very popular band. I mean, we went out and gigged, always packed, always full. But we just never got over that little hump, to superstardom.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Which is what we all wanted.
right. Eventually. Yeah. Yeah. Well, a couple of other artists that you work with, I find very interesting. Kevin Coyne. I have a couple of his albums, Matching Head and Feet, and a compilation, Sign of the Times.
Yeah.
So another.
I mean, I'm not on any of his recordings. I never did any recording, but I did a couple of tours with him.
Okay.
Great, but he is G's.
Yes. Yes. Very
Got
much
a
so.
brain the size of a planet. Really, I mean, he's a fascinating man, constantly funny, very, very funny man. So being on the road with him was incredible, but it had its ups and downs because he was a little shaky in the old
right.
So, and he was a severe alcoholic. So he would go on sort of massive benders and just be really abusive to the road crew and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes.
But he had an amazing contact with an audience, absolutely amazing. It was a very enjoyable band. That.
Right.
I mean, we could do anything, I mean, I remember one gig we found some furniture in the band room and we just set it up on the stage, some soft furnishings.
Yeah.
And we all just sat reading the paper for about half an hour. It just went down like fantastically. They thought it was just
wow.
This is like Scandinavia, who you'd think, how would they get that? How would they get this very big humor? But shit, they're far out, those people.
Scandinavia. Right.
Really.
Yeah. And Dutch. Audiences as well.
Yeah. And Germans,
And
the Germans have no sense of humor.
Right. There you go.
It's just a little bit further ahead than yours,
Well, maybe that's how I have an affinity for that, because one side of my family is German, and the other side Scottish. So.
What a combination.
Yeah, right. I think so. That's why I'm so messed up. Yeah. But
it's Burns night, by the way, next week.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned Guy Fawkes Day. That was our election. That was the same day as our election.
It was.
Yeah, it was. I would have much rather been celebrating Guy Fawkes Day.
Yeah, well, it was Guy Fawkes Day, really. It was like.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Maybe there was something about that, how they lined up. Yeah, like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I mentioned in the intro, Bert Jansch. What a guitar player, man.
Fabulous. I mean, very influenced all guitarists in England.
Yes.
All the people.
Over here too. Over here, yes. I have quite a bit of his material, solo and with Pentangle. Yeah.
And he was a lovely man, He became a friend long before I played with him.
Right.
I used to go and drink with him in a pub called the Half Moon in Putney, But he was a big drinker.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'd meet him in the afternoon, and he'd already been there since the morning.
He was ahead of you guys. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
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 Drink.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about Kevin Coyne, one I always get mixed up with him because of the first name, Kevin Ayers.
Kevin Ayers, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I get Kevin Coyne and Ayers mixed up. They're both kind of idiosyncratic and quirky.
Very much, and very English, but
Yeah.
Kevin Coyne had the edge over Kevin
Yeah.
Ayers.
Yeah.
Kevin Ayers disappeared up his own rectum, you know.
And
I've seen him. He had great bands. He had great
Yeah.
players all
Right,
the time.
right. Yeah.
But,
And then
he's a bit wispy.
yeah, yeah, right. And with Soft Machine and that
Yeah.
yeah thing. Well, we'll talk switching gears here a little bit. Talk about how you got into writing and creating the comedy show Little Armadillos.
Yeah. Well, Pete Richens had been a friend of mine for it's like 15 years at that point. And I don't know, he got all that success with comic strip.
Yeah.
Getting very bad. Now they're quite big in the States, that people are very aware
Yeah,
of. Yeah.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he just rang me one day and said that Bob Spears, the director who directed all the comic strips, had been offered this from a TV station called TBS, which is the South Coast. He'd been offered the chance to make a comedy show because some American writer had come in, put forward his ideas, and then they just sacked him, and he didn't think it was any good, you know. It was too formulaic and
Yeah.
you know, and it was, and of course at this time things like the comic strip were the alternative comedy scene, as they called it here, you know. So that kind of sketch stuff was a little bit old hat now.
Right.
So Bob stepped in and said, "Well, who's going to write it?" You know, and he asked Pete Richens, who then asked me if I wanted to, because you know we've known each other for a long time. We both like to be funny, you know? And so he just asked me if I wanted to do it, and we got together and started writing, and up it came. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. How long did the show run for?
It was just one series,
One series.
about 7 shows.
Okay.
You know, it was flawed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the first thing I'd ever written. You know.
Yeah.
For money.
Right.
In that sense, but Kenny Craddock and I wrote all the songs for it, which was great. It featured like 3 or 4 songs in every show, short, but satirically funny.
Yes. We'll talk about how you and Kenny founded Invisible Studios. Yeah.
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 That's how it started.
That's how it started. Okay.
It started when I was getting all this money for writing the show, but then Kenny and I started. I got Kenny. I said, "Well, if we're going to need music, let's get Kenny in. We'll write the music." So we got that in, and suddenly I'm making more money from the music than, I mean, in those days, independent television in England was known as a license to print money. They were just
right,
because they were the ones that had the ads, right, the commercials. Right. So they were swimming in money.
Yeah.
And suddenly we'd be like going in to see the guy about getting paid for the show, and he'd go, "Okay, what's that? And you may as well have another 1,000 for that." Like, what? And what about expenses? Well, I guess, well, here's 500 in cash for that.
You're like,
off this, you know?
Right. You're like, I should have been doing this
my
whole life. Yeah. I should have been doing this. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, the fact is, you know, I hate to admit it, but I did to say to myself, shit, this is a hell of a lot easier than struggling to write a plot and everything else involved in writing drama, you know, or comedy. It's hard. It's hard to do.
Yes.
Whereas writing music was, for me and Kenny, was a breeze, you know. It was easier. We'd been together for like 25 years at that point.
Right.
So we could write like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, like the money making aspect of it. Yeah, I guess it was the same over there. During the 70s, the jingle writing,
Mhm.
for commercials and ads
Yeah,
and all that. That was very lucrative. Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes.
You could get into.
I've looked to have got into that. I mean, it's another thing that would have come very easily, but
Yeah,
we never did. Because from Little Armadillos
yeah,
came offers for big dramas, high budget dramas on TV and feature films. So we suddenly we're getting like big budgets. Really,
Well, we'll
actually doing very well.
talk about some of the films and TV shows you composed for.
Let me see. Well, the first thing we did after Little Armadillos was another thing that Bob Spears also directed, and it was written by Howard Schumann,
Okay.
wrote Rock Follies, a thing called Rock Follies.
Okay, right, yeah, familiar with that.
His kind of follow up to that. It was called Upline, and it was about a bunch of kids who get involved in this pyramid selling scheme.
Yeah.
So there was lots of music in that. So we wrote some great stuff for that. That got fantastic reviews, but kind of I don't know. It's never been repeated. It's the crazy thing. They're all desperate now because I think television is so expensive to make now.
Yes.
Those people are desperate for things that they can pull out of the drawer and go, oh, let's see this again.
Right.
And it will happen, I'm sure. But I wish it would happen now, because I can do the money.
Right.
And but anyway, that happened, and a lot of the people in that series got quite big after that. Hugh Laurie, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who became very famous on American TV, didn't he? As a
House.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was in that, and lots of people are still names now.
Right.
So it was a very good series for us. It was great.
Yeah.
So from that, we just got more stuff. We got the next Howard Schumann thing was the David Lodge. David Lodge?
That rings a bell.
He died about a week ago, I think.
Oh, David Lynch?
No, David Lodge. No, not
No,
David.
okay. Not okay. Not that. He died. He died.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, one of my favorites. I'm currently watching Twin Peaks again now.
I remember going to the movie to see Eraserhead.
Yeah. I've seen that movie 10. You can see 10 times.
I was going to say, you didn't need drugs to watch that. No.
But anyway, David Lodge. Yeah. David Lodge was this was called Small World, and it was about academia. It was about the circus of academia. They're all going to conventions all over the world. It's going round and round, making loads of money. Bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Very funny. That also had some great people. It had who was the guy who played the postman in Cheers.
Oh yes. He what is his name? What was the character? It was
he was a great character too.
Yes. What was his name? The heavy set. Yeah.
He's getting drunk.
Yeah. Oh man. If you hadn't asked me, I could tell you. Yeah. It's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. He was in it.
He was in it.
Quite a few people. Huge budget. I mean, we just got showered cash.
Right.
So it's great.
Norm. The character was Norm.
Norm, that's right.
Yeah. I can't think of his real name. Yeah. Well, you also Leslie Nielsen was a part of one of the shows.
Yeah, that was Kevin of the North.
Kevin of the North, yes.
Which was released as Snow Dogs in the States.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's an interesting story about that, because we did that, and just after it was finished, Disney decided to do exactly the same film, basically.
Yeah.
And they called it, theirs was called Snow Dogs, I don't know. It's the same film, it's the same plot, everything. Only they had animatronic talking dogs in theirs, of course. And of course,
right.
That's what Disney does,
That's what they say.
What they're
Yeah,
good at, you know.
right. They had the technology and the money, to
Yeah, and it was just basic theft, you know. It was terrible. So that's
right.
do anything, but I still get royalties from like Paraguay, you know.
Places like, isn't that wild? Yeah,
Yeah.
where you get, I hear stories about that from just all over the world getting royalties. Yeah, that's so you never know where you're going to be popular. You just there's sometimes no rhyme.
It's quite a funny film. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of British comedy, I just saw this yesterday. I think it was on Facebook. Faulty Towers. Remember when John was doing the goose step?
Germans,
that was so funny.
The Germans.
Yeah. Well, they superimposed Musk's face on there. Oh, you like to see that one?
I'd like to see that. Where did you see it?
And he's got this big smile on his face.
Where did you see that?
It was on Facebook. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Just scrolling. If you go through there, you'll probably see it. He walks across into the kitchen and walks back.
Perfect. He really really fucked up with that, I mean,
he did. He did.
I hadn't actually seen it. I just heard about it, right?
Yeah.
Until like the day before yesterday, and I was sitting right where I am now, and the news was on, and then they're on. I went, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Right.
It was like,
yeah, and he did it twice.
And he turned around
and did it. Yeah, he did.
So it wasn't a mistake. He didn't go, "Whoops, I shouldn't have done that."
Right. But he has autism. Don't you know he has autism? Yeah. It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
If he's got autism, what has Trump got?
Right. all the dysfunctions, imaginable. It's just so sad, the double standard. It really, really is. How if someone from the left had done something like that, how'd they be all over it?
Boy.
The Republicans would be all over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we make excuses for it. On the other side, on the other end, it's just sickening. It's just really sickening.
It is sickening. It's difficult to even be funny about it because after a very short while you get depressed.
Yeah, you do. And like I said, to me, the best way to put it is it's a living nightmare that I can't wake up from. That we can't wake up from. It just who would have ever imagined? Anyway, let's move back into what we were talking about. Talk briefly about your later album work during the 80s and 90s.
For instance,
let me see here if I can.
Short term, you see.
Yeah, right. That's I'm the same. I'm starting to do this. Okay, we're a few years difference here. I know. I'm starting to walk into a room and go, why did I walk in here for? Starting to do that.
I just where am I?
Yeah. Now I can't say this was because of age, because this was probably about 15 years ago. I'm driving my car. Okay, and I'm like, I start thinking, where are my car keys? Well, I'm driving my car. I'm like, I have one hand on the wheel and I'm reaching into my pocket. I'm like,
this is a version of this, isn't it? Where am I?
Yes, where are you? Right. Yes. Oh, yeah.
No wonder I can't find them. I've put these on.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Oh, that's funny. Had you always had a good sense of humor growing up?
Yeah. Well, I grew up with my brother and sister were 10 years older than me, 10 and 11 years older than me. So I was like a teenager already when I was 6. They were 16, and they were like my surrogate parents almost. So I was just pumped with all this teenage angst from them.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, what was the thread of this? It was.
We were going to talk, some of your later album.
Oh, yeah.
talk about guano. You have an obsession with guano.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Well,
'Cause I thought,
it was a pen name I used in a bird guano.
okay, okay.
And it was I invented this organist called Bird Guano. Bird Guano is fabulous organ. That was my billing.
Yeah.
And it was named after this. It was I was influenced by this guy in Hastings where I live in. When I first moved here, there used to be this guy called Prince McBride.
Oh, okay.
They used to play like Blackpool Tower kind of stuff in
Oh, really? Okay.
ballroom where all these old people used to dance and
Ballroom
have
dancing.
tea.
Yeah.
So that was anyway. That was my alter ego, Bird Guano. So when so I did this whole bunch of instrumental tracks, and I gave them to my friend Jack Pound, who's a very prolific songwriter. I thought you'd just like them, and he was also a builder at the time as well.
Oh, is that right?
You know, a house builder. You know. And he kept ringing me up and saying, "Hey man, everybody running on the building site's going like, who's that?"
Yeah.
So he said, "Well, I'm gonna try and write some lyrics to this stuff, you know."
Yeah.
And so he did, and that was the first one, you know, Domestic Bliss.
Oh, okay, right.
You know,
Well, I noticed on one of your on one of your email extensions, it's got guano graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Graphic design.
Yeah. And then the whole guano family of work, bird guano and guano poundhammer. Guano
Poundhammer, yes. So it's Bird Guano, Jack Pound, and he used to write lyrics with this other guy.
Yeah.
Who's his pen name was Cole Hammer.
Oh, okay.
So it's Guano Poundhammer.
There you go. That's how it came together. Okay. Right. We'll talk about Sausage Life.
Sausage Life,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's in a very English tradition of column writing. You know? In other words, it's nonsense, basically.
Okay.
It's nonsense, but it appears to be, you know, it's written from the point of view that it's true now, but it's not.
Oh, that rings a bell. That kind of
this would be a
yeah.
You have Flann O'Brien, the author, Flann O'Brien.
Oh, yes.
He wrote The Third Policeman.
Yes.
Well, he used to have a column in the Irish Times for Christine Lawn, and his column was in the English tradition. There was an English writer called J.P. Morton, Beachcomber, he was known as. He wrote a column in the Daily Express for 40 years or something. And same thing. There were characters in it, but they were all made up. You know?
Okay.
And they would occur and they would talk to each other and as though they were real people. You know? But they weren't. They were just. But I was brought up with the Goons and Spike Milligan.
Yeah. Oh, right.
So that's where the English sense of humor comes from. From my generation, anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what we got. I mean, it's really out there. So the Monty Python just arrived, ready, made for all that whole generation. We were ready for it already. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
You know Spike Milligan?
Oh yeah. I'm familiar with some of his.
Yeah. I mean, he is the godfather of Monty Python.
Yeah. Right. And then what's his name? I can't even think. Moore or Dudley Moore.
Peter Cook.
Yeah, Peter Cook.
Dudley Moore, yeah. Pete and Dud.
Yeah.
Of course, and Beyond the Fringe.
Right. Yeah.
That was a huge hit in New York.
Right. Yeah. I've always liked British humor. I've always.
Yeah. And it really hit America because they were used to although the odd thing is, I was going to talk about this. There's such a cross fertilization, you know, because Spike Milligan, the Goons, they all came from, Spike Jones,
Like
Marx Brothers,
yeah, yes,
all of those people, the Ritz Brothers,
yeah,
crazy, crazy stuff.
yeah.
So it just flowed back and forth.
Right, like cross pollination. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right.
So
That's what I say about a lot of the music. I'm an Anglophile as far as music goes. Anyway, majority of what I've collected is just from across the pond, and I just think that you were influenced. The early R&Bs and the soul and all that. But then you turned it into something that I like better. you know, yeah. I think the most of the music that I like, there's a sense of melody that I think that you guys inject into the music. That's not, I don't want to say lacking over here, because there's some good American bands, but not like what I hear from you guys. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we got all that music when it was imported. Liverpool was such a place,
right?
Because a lot of American stuff came in by everything.
Right.
But, that was our whole thing, but we didn't really understand what was happening in America politically and socially. So we didn't. There was no such thing as a black music station.
Right.
It's unheard of. Just didn't have that kind of thing. We had no idea about segregation and stuff like that. It was just music,
Yeah.
So we didn't give a shit whether it was white or black or whatever. It was just we all together.
Right. Well, look at.
I had no idea what was going on over there, which was like.
Right. And I think that's why a lot of
black stations.
I think that's why a lot of black musicians relocated over there from here, moved there, because there wasn't the racism so much.
Oh, listen, Europe embraced black musicians.
Right.
Jazz guys there. They couldn't believe it. They were allowed to go in the front door of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Look at Jimi Hendrix.
It was like, you've arrived. Oh,
yeah.
Through the kitchen, please.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
We had no idea that stuff was going on.
Right.
Now, I guess maybe older people did, but we didn't.
Right. See, so I think a lot of them relocated. Rosetta Hightower that we talked about earlier. I think they relocated over there, and they stayed there. I mean, they stayed there.
Well, you wouldn't blame them,
Right.
Like
no,
you mean you think I'm not actually like you?
Not at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to have got any better over on your side of the pond.
Oh no.
Still pretty bad. I mean, that's one of the culture shocks I got, because New York, for instance, and LA, profoundly racist. I found that, and I was shocked. I thought that they would be the sophisticated part of America,
right?
And we didn't see that, but I was quite shocked at some of the stuff.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, well, one more thing I wanted to hear about is the Hunt cult.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
Talk a little bit about it.
That's interesting. The story behind that is I was in London. I was coming back from London, and I was on a train. And in London, there'd been this big protest by pro fox hunting people, because they were trying to ban fox hunting. Parliament. So all of these farmer types, assholes,
right?
And suddenly they were actually confronting the police, like real riders. And on the train, you could just see there was this buzz amongst them. They were all really proud that they'd gone in.
Yes.
And it was hideous, drinking champagne and just saying, "Oh, it was great, wasn't it?" Yeah. And I just happened to overhear say, he said, and the policeman came up to me and said, and he just hit me on the head for no reason at all.
Right. Yeah.
That song just came straight into my head, and I went home, and when I got home, it was finished, and I recorded it, and that's the song.
That's what. Okay. Yeah.
It's only me on there.
Right.
Everything else is just mine.
Yeah. Well, that was the early similar to
fully formed.
Right. what you just talked about, eerily similar to what happened the last election where he tried to overturn it. January 6th. Yeah, very.
Yeah. No, he's just pardoned most of those guys now.
He just pardoned them all. Yeah, exactly. And it's just the beginning of his term.
If you look at the latest Sausage Life.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know whether you've seen it, but it's got I've done the Village People, Trump and Musk, and
right.
The Indian guy is the guy, the horns.
Yes.
From the insurgency,
Yeah.
And they're all up there.
All right. Well, it's been very enjoyable, Colin. It's been
very enjoyable.
Yes.
And I hope what did Johnny say to you when you
he said he would have a think about it. He said he would have a think about it. So
I'm going to call him tomorrow. So
okay, all right. You tell him that I'm
I'll
not.
tell him to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the boogeyman. I'm not the boogeyman.
No.
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
but
he's good. He's good value.
Right. He's got a little bit of the I could ask him about Skip Bifferty, but then he's other bands that he was in too. Well, there you go.
A lot, man.
That's right.
Ian Jury's Blockheads, who are not so big in the States, but they're huge here.
See, that's right. Plenty. Just
and many more. I mean, Bob Geldolf.
Oh, right.
Who else? I mean, lots.
Yeah. We can definitely go get into some of that. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
put in a good word
tomorrow anyway. I'll say.
Yeah, put in a good word. Say you got to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but, well, thank you.
Make him do it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what I've been saying for a while now is thank you for taking that leap of faith and doing this.
Oh man,
because a lot of it, I mean, I come to people out of the blue. Who is this guy? What does he want? That kind of thing. He's American.
You must be an asshole.
That's right. There you go. So I have a lot of things working against me from the get-go, right?
Yes. Yeah, but sometimes that's good. It can make you strong.
It does. And I really enjoy doing these and hearing you guys' stories and just going back in the time machine, like I say. And it's fun. It is. And like hearing those comments, reading the comments later on, and so we'll see what kind of traction we get. And again, I will send you again, like I said, a week or maybe a couple of days, whatever it takes to get it edited and send that to you, and you can post it.
Great, and then please just get back to me if you want anything cleared up or anything like that.
Oh, okay, all right. And in the meantime, I mean, if you can think of anybody else that's the thing too with you guys and your generation. I wish I had started doing this like decades earlier, right? When a lot of guys were still around, But as it is,
let me think.
So if you don't have to think now, but if you happen to when you talk after you talk to John, if maybe he can think of someone.
I mean, Pete Richens is a good.
Oh, okay. See,
he was a guitarist in Griffin, but he's worked for a long time with Bert Jansch,
Right. I see. Get some stories there too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. And he also worked with Kevin Thorne.
Right. See, yeah. There you go. So a lot of times, that word of mouth, and that's.
And he was the person who introduced me to Pete Richens.
Oh, right.
Way back.
Right. Okay. There you go. Well, I can turn the tables on him then. That's what we'll do. Yeah. I'll interrogate. No. But again, thank you, Colin, and all the best to you. And do keep in touch. And,
absolutely. Yes.
And I will too. And
you have a good. But see anything that might amuse you, I'll send.
Okay, yes, and yes, send me. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything, even audio clips or humor, comedy, and anything like that. Yeah.
Sure thing. I
All
will.
right, all right, all right. Well, bye bye for now. But you have a good rest
Bye
of the
for now.
weekend. Okay.
Yeah, you too, man. That's
All right.
both mates.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Cool, man.
All
Hey,
right.
see you soon.